The bucolic 200-year-old Ryland Inn features the French-American cooking of Craig Shelton. He received early training in France, then worked in New York City. In 1997 and 98, the Ryland Inn won the Top Table Award in Gourmet Magazine's Readers' Poll. Here is steamed sea bass with 3 celeries.
But the dish is pretty simple. We'll start by lifting the fillets off the fish. And we go under the pectoral fin, make a quick cut to the head. And then we're going to turn the knife sideways into it. And we're just going to lift that fillet right off.
The fillet is trimmed, the ribs removed, and then small pin bones are extracted.
And we're just going to score the skin ever so lightly. Don't go through to the flesh. You just have... What this will do is when the fish cooks, the skin won't curl.
The 3 celeries in this dish include the stalk, the leaves, and shown here the bulb, also called celeriac. The bulb is cut into large chunks, boiled in salted water, then processed into a puree. The puree then becomes the base for the sauce. The celery stalks are peeled, cut on a bias, and also blanched in salted water. And the celery leaves will be deep fried as garnish. The small snails called periwinkles are cooked with vegetables stewed in butter.
When this is nice and tender and the aromas are out, we're going to add the periwinkles in. This is the wine. Yes. And we're going to add a little bit of white wine. I'm going to use some very special sea salt from France called sel de Guérande, but any sea salt will work. A few parsley stems, and some black pepper. And this we're going to cook at a rapid boil for approximately 1 hour until they tenderize.
Now the celery puree, which is 30% butter, is used to start the sauce.
The sauce, I take some vegetable stock, which you can make after your fashion. I'm putting about 2 ounces of vegetable bouillon in there. I'm going to put about nearly the same quantity of the celery root puree. And now I'm going to add also about the same quantity of French butter. This celery puree is the natural thickener for the sauce.
The sauce is seasoned with salt and pepper.
And a tiny bit more of that liquid, vegetable liquid. Now the sauce is ready to go.
The blanched celery stalk is warmed through.
And I'm going to put a little bit more of that vegetable stock in there. Just a tiny bit for moisture.
Finally, the snails are cooked.
To pull them out, with a needle or a fork or something like this, you can dig in, and the little pieces of the snail will come out like that.
The cooked snails are also warmed through in vegetable stock and butter. The fish is prepared for steaming with salt, pepper, and olive oil.
And now we're going to rub a little olive oil on it to protect it from the intense heat of a steamer. And even though this is a low-pressure steamer, steam is still a very powerful way to cook. It has to be handled very gently. I'm going to put the piece of plastic wrap under the fish so that there's no chance it can stick to the steamer.
The fillet will be finished in 4 to 5 minutes. Presentation begins with the cooked celery stalk. The chef finishes the sauce.
Okay. That seems just about right. And what we use, if you have this gadget at home, is remarkable. One of these little immersion blenders. That'll fluff the sauce up. It'll take air inside it. And it'll give it a beautiful texture of velvet in the mouth. Now the sauce is going around the dish. Now the fillet of the fish is going to be used. We're going to take a few of those periwinkles. Distribute them over the dish. I'm going to garnish it with several of these fried parsley leaves. Excuse me, fried celery leaves. What little bit of liquid remains in the pot that had the celery branch, I'm going to thicken it with more parsley puree, and I'm going to make just a tiny swirl on the outside. And that's the finished dish. And personally, I think this would be a wise selection of wine to serve with it.